Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel, and in today's tutorial we'll be learning how to draft a bustier with a square neckline. If this is a video you're interested in, please keep on watching and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. Finally, for this tutorial, the measurements we'll be needing for this drafting is our round bust measurement, and I'll be working with round bust 40 inches. Our round waist measurement, I'm working with 32. Our bust span, which is nipple to nipple measurement, I'll be working with 8 inches. So I'll also be needing my shoulder measurement, which is 16 inches. I'll also be needing my bust point. The bust point that I'm working with is 10 inches. The under bust length that I'm working with is 13.5 inches. The waistline that I'm working with is 17 inches. So basically, I think these are the measurements that I'll be needing for this tutorial. So after writing it out, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do is either to mark out a starting line that will be serving as my shoulder line, or I can just go ahead and use this edge to serve as my shoulder line. So this edge will be serving as my shoulder line. So from the shoulder line, I'm just going to go ahead and divide my shoulder measurement into two. Now the shoulder measurement I'm working with is 16 inches. 16 inches divided by 2 is 8 inches. So I'll just go in and mark 8 inches. So after that, I'll go ahead from the shoulder line, I'll go ahead and mark my bust point. Now the first thing we are doing now, we are just drafting a normal basic pattern. So I'll mark my bust point that I'm working with, which is 10 inches. I'm working with bust point 10 inches. The under bust point that I'm working with is 13.5. I'll be working with the exact under bust measurement that I'm working with. I'll be working with 13 inches. Now the reason for subtracting this half of an inch from your normal under bust length is for you to give it this pushy effect and not a saggy breast effect. So instead of doing 13.5 inches, I'll just go ahead and do 13 inches instead. So the waistline that I'm working with is 16 inches, and I'll be adding about half of an inch for our stitching allowance because I'll be joining it to a skirt. This is not basically a top, so I want to make a gown with it. So I'll just go ahead and extend these lines that I have. After marking this out, I'm just going to go ahead and label it. This is our bust point, this is our under bust length, this is our waist length, and this is our waist allowance length. So after that, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and divide is my round armhole measurement. The round armhole measurement I'm also working with is 16 inches. So just go ahead and measure yours. So 16 inches divided by 2 will give us 8 inches. So from the starting line, which is serving as our shoulder line, I'll go ahead and mark down these 8 inches for our armhole, and I'll just go ahead and extend the line. So basically, after I was done extending the lines, just like you see over here, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is to divide my nipple to nipple measurement, or my bust span measurement, into two. So the bust span that I'm working with is bust span 8 inches. So 8 inches divided by 2 is 4. So I'll go ahead and mark the 4 inches on the bust point line, on the under bust line, and also on the waistline, and extend it vertically. after marking the bust point line, just like I told you earlier, now I'm going to go ahead and determine how down I want the neck area to be. So for the width of this neck, I'll be working with 4 inches. So I'll go in by 4 inches for the neck width. Now for the depth is optional. You can choose to go in by any width you want to go in with. So for me, I think I'll be going down by 7 inches because I don't want it to be too revealing. But if you want yours to be more revealing, you can choose to go down more. So for me, I'll just go ahead and mark 7 inches. So this 7 inches, I'm just going to go ahead and extend it all the way to our armhole line, just like you see me doing. So I'll go ahead and mark out the line. So after marking out the 7 inches for the neck width, the next thing we are going to go ahead and do now is to extend this bust span line that we have here all the way to this neck depth that we have. So after that, moving down to our armhole area. Now for our shoulder slope, we'll be coming down by 1 inch from our shoulder line or our starting line. So we'll be coming down by 1 inch. Now connecting the 1 inch we have here all the way down to this neck width that we are making use of. So after that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to measure the remaining armhole measurement that we have that is left. So I have 7 inches left here. The next thing I'm going to do is to divide it into 2. So 7 inches divided by 2 is 3.5 inches. So on this point, I marked 3.5 inch. I'll be coming in by half of an inch. So on our armhole line, I'm going to go ahead and divide the round bust measurement that we are working with into 4. So the round bust that I'm working with is 40 inches. 40 inches divided by 4 is 10. So from this starting line that we have here, I'm going to mark the round bust measurement divided by 4 on our armhole line, on this line, just like you see me do here. So I'm just going to go ahead and connect this line. So the first connection we are doing is from this half inch here, you connect it back to this 1 inch shoulder slope that we have, just like you see me doing. And after that, I'll use this curvy part of my ruler to connect this half inch all the way to the round bust measurement that we have. So after connecting it, this is what it's looking like. Now the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do now is coming in towards this bust span line on our under bust line. Coming in this way, I'm just going to go ahead and come in by 1 inch. Now, the reason I'm coming in by 1 inch is because the person I'm sewing for is actually a busty person. Now, when I mean a busty person, I mean she has boobs. Now, if you're working for someone that does not have boobs, you can actually choose to go in by half of an inch or 0.75 inch. So for me, I'll be going in by 1 inch. So this 1 inch, I'm just going to go ahead and extend the 1 inch all the way down to the waistline too. So after that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is to impute my cup size. Now for the cup size, just like I explained before, it actually differs individually. Now, your round bust measurement does not determine the cup size you're to work with. If you have a busty client, the cup size that you can make use of is 3 inches. Now, when I mean a busty client, I don't mean someone that the round bust is about 40 inches with no boobs inside. That's why it is necessary that when you're measuring your client, you try as much as you can to feel the amount of flesh that is in the boobs. So there are some people that have that are huge, but they don't have bust inside. I don't know if you've actually come across such clients. So if it is a client that has much flesh in her boobs, you can use 3 inches for the cup size. Now, if it is someone that is on an average boobs flesh, you can use 2.25 for the cup size. And if it is someone that does not have bust at all, that does not have flesh in the bust, not the round bust measurement, that does not have flesh in the boobs, you can use 1.75 for the cup size, or even 2 inches for the cup size. So since I'm working for a client that is busty, I will be using cup size 2.25, cup size 2.25. So from this bust pan, I'm just going to measure inward 2.25, and I'll go ahead and mark it down just like you see me doing here. So I'll also go ahead and mark it on the under bust line and extend the line. Now, after that, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to connect on this bust point line. I'm just going to go ahead and connect from the center to this 1 inch that we have here, then from the center to this cup size measurement that we have using our curve ruler, the curvy part. Just watch the way I'm placing it. So I'll make sure that this 1 inch and this center bust point line is actually rhyming. So I'm just going to go ahead and curve it. So after that, I'll also go ahead and do the same thing for this side. So I'll just go ahead and place my curve ruler this way, just like you see, and make sure that the cup size line is also joining the center of this bust point line. Just like you can see. So this is what it is looking like. Now, after that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is at this neck depth, let me label it so that you will know. This is the neck depth. So at this neck depth that we have earlier, the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do is to come in at this curvy area, this side. I'm just going to go ahead and mark. I'll go ahead and mark 1 inch. Now, how to know the amount to go in with is, if your bust span is up to 4 inches, just go ahead and mark 1 inch on both sides. But if your bust span is either 3.5 or 3 inches, just mark 0.75 on this side that I marked 1 inch. So since the bust span I'm working with is up to 4, I'll go ahead and mark 1 inch. Now this 1 inch that I marked here, I'll go ahead and connect it to back all the way to this bust point line with my curve ruler, just like you see me doing. So after connecting this to this 1 inch that we have, now going inward, I'll also go ahead and mark 1 inch. But if your bust span is not up to 4 inches, your bust span is either 3 inches or 3.5, mark 0.75 on this point and mark 1 inch on this point. So this point side is, the 1 inch here is constant, while this side actually fluctuates. So since it's up to 4, I marked for 1 inch. I'm just going to go ahead and connect this 1 inch all the way back to this bust point center point, just like you see me do. Now, after connecting it, this is basically what it is looking like. So remember that we are doing a square shape neckline. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to determine where I want the neck width to actually stop from. So from this center point, I'm just going to go in by extra 2 inches. So from this neck width that we remember, we already removed 4 inch. So from this place, I'll just go in by extra 1 inch. Okay, let's do 1 inch to make it 5 inch in total. So I'll do 1 inch instead. Now the more inches you add from your neck width that you got earlier, the more opening your neck area becomes. So I'm just going to mark 1 inch here. Now with my ruler, I'm just going to go ahead and join this 1 inch all the way down to this neck depth that we have earlier, just like you see me do here. Now at this point, if you don't want yours to be straight, you can choose to use your ruler to make it a little bit curvy or any shape of your choice. But for me, I want it to be straight, so that's the main reason I'm actually doing it this way. So after that, the next thing we are going to go ahead and do right now is to do our bust tightening. So for the bust tightening, I'm just going to extend this neck depth all the way into our armhole, just like you see me do here. So I'll just extend it in a little bit. So at this extension that I have here, I'm just going to go ahead and measure 1.75. Now the 1.75 is the measurement that you have from these two measurements that we imputed. Now if you did 0.75 here and 1 inch here, it's going to be 1.75, but since I did 1 inch 1 inch, that's 2 inches. I will also be replacing these 2 inches that I have here all the way down back to this armhole area so that it does not shorten the measurement. So since I have 2 inches here, I'll go ahead now. Look at from this armhole place that we have, not from this thread place, from this armhole curve that we have earlier. That's where I'm taking the measurement from. So I'm just going to go ahead and replace the 2 inches back. Now marking it down, this is what it's actually looking like. So the next thing we are going to go ahead and do now is to create our new armhole curve from this point and not from this point again. So using our curve ruler, I'm just going to create a new armhole, just like you see me doing here. So basically this is our new armhole curve and not this one. So while cutting, we'll be cutting this way, getting to this place, will now curve it. So the curving does not start from this point. So that is that for it. Now after that, the next thing we are going to go ahead and do right now is to impute our dart. Now on the bust point, which is here, we are going to divide our bust measurement into 4. Now the bust measurement we are working with is 40 inches. 40 inches divided by 4 is 10 inches. So from here, I will mark the 10 inches on the bust point. Now at this point that I marked exactly 10 inches, our round bust measurement, I'll come down by 1 inch. Now this 1 inch is for your dart. So I'm just going to extend this 1 inch we have here all the way to the center of this bust point place that we have. Just watch what I'm doing. So I'm just going to go ahead and extend it. Now, after extending it, we'll go ahead and close it up. But before we close it up, we'll go ahead and impute our body measurement. Now, for the body measurement, remember while cutting this, these two pieces will be going off. So you want to put as much allowance as possible as you can. I'm just going to go ahead and measure what we have here. So what we have here in total is about 3.5. So we have 3.5 inches here in total. So our round waist measurement is 32. 32 divided by 4 is 8 inches. So I'll mark 8 inches starting from this point all the way down. I will replace the 3.5 inches. So replacing the 3.5 inches, this is where it is. So after that, I'm just going to go ahead and add extra 3 inch or 2 inch allowance depending on what you want. So I'll be adding extra 3 inch allowance. So from this new measurement that we got now, I'm going to extend it all the way down to the armhole. So this is what we have, and that is that for the drafting. So the next thing I'm just going to go ahead and do right now is to cut this out. I forgot that I did not close the dart, so I'll just go ahead and do that. I'll cut off this area that we have, so I'll just go ahead and cut it off. Now for closing of the dart, I'll be closing it from the upper side this way. So I'll just go ahead and pitch up this bust point line and place it on top of the 1 inch line that we had earlier. Now while doing this, just make sure that this center part is not being folded. Like, just make sure that it's straight so that it wouldn't shorten our measurement. So this way is perfect. I'll just go ahead and use a masking tape to hold it down. So after cutting it out, this is what we have left with us. So this is actually for the front piece. Now while cutting this on your main fabric, this particular piece, just make sure that this center place is on fold, that it's folded. So that is that for the front piece. Now the next thing we are going to go ahead and do now is to cut out our back piece. Piece of this bustier that we have here, I'm going to go ahead from this part. I'm just going to go ahead and measure out 1 inch all the way down. Now this 1 inch, as you know, is for our zip allowance. Now to determine where the 1 inch will stop, from our shoulder line or our starting line, I'm going to measure down the half length of this top. So the length I'm working with is 16 inches, just like you know. So I'll add extra half inches, that will be 6.5. So the 1 inch zipper allowance will be stopping at this 6.5 inches that we have. So I'm just going to go ahead and extend it. Now is to impute my bust span divided by 2. The bust span we're working with is 8 inches. 8 inches divided by 2 is 4 inches. So from this 1 inch line that we have, that's where we'll be starting the 4 inch measurement from. So I'll go ahead and mark 4 inch all the way down to the top. So after that, at the shoulder line, or the starting line, I will divide my shoulder measurement into 2. Shoulder measurement is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8 inches. The measurement that I'm taking from is from this 1 inch. I'm not taking it from here. So I'll mark the 8 inches. divide my armhole measurement by 2, which is 16 divided by 2 is also 8 inches. I'll go ahead and mark 8 inches and straighten the line. So after that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now, remember the width of our front top was 4 inches, and I also removed extra 1 inch at the end, which was 5 inches in total. So our front neck width too is going to be 5 inch. So I'll go ahead and mark 5 inch here. Now for the depth, I think I'll be working with 1.5 inches or 2 inches instead. So I'll mark 2 inches and I'll go ahead and connect this 5 inch that we have here all the way down to the 2 inch line that we have. Connecting the neck width, we'll be extending it all the way to the 1 inch allowance that we have. So this is what it's looking like. So after that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do is to come down by 1 inch, which will be 7 as our shoulder slope. So I'll go ahead and connect this 1 inch we have here all the way to our neck width. So after that, I'll go ahead and divide the remaining armhole measurement we have, which is 7 inches divided by 2 is 3.5. At the point we marked the 3.5, I'll come in by half of an inch, divide our bust span, our round bust measurement into 4, which is 10 inches. So from this point, I'll be marking the 10 inches. So remember how we do it, to just connect the lines. So after that, basically, the next thing I'm going to go ahead and do now is for our back dart, I'm just going to, at this waistline, I'll go in and out by half of an inch. So after going in and out about half of an inch, I'm going to connect it all the way back into this bust span line that we have earlier, just like you see me do. You can choose to go as high as you want. So after that, the next thing I'll do now is to input my body measurement. Now, remember that we are working with bust 40 inches. So I already added 40 inches here. So I'll be adding extra 2 inch or 3 inch allowance, just like we added to the front, to this back piece. So this is what we'll have left. So I'm just going to go ahead and actually cut it out. Now for the zip contouring, I'm just going to come out by half of an inch at the waistline. This is to avoid zip bulging. So I'm just going to come out by half of an inch at this 1 inch we have already. So this half inch, I'm just going to go ahead and extend it out of this 1 inch that we have. Just watch what I'm doing. So this is it for the zip bulging. Now I think that will be all for the back piece. So I'm just going to extend this measurement we have here all the way down to our waistline and then cut it out. So after cutting out the back pieces, this is what it's looking like. Now while cutting on your main fabric, you're going to be adding about half of an inch to this center part and also to this side for joining it back together. So this is it for the back piece, and also remember to add half of an inch at the shoulder area and also at the neck area. And for the front piece, remember to add half of an inch at the top for stitching it together. So basically this is the end of this tutorial. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also turn on your notification bell to be notified whenever we post a new video. See you in our next video. Bye.